Yeah, it does.
Kind of looks like the modern world. I think that does. Must be something higher and Peter Jackson. If you're familiar with all your rocks, generally, when I was growing up, we dealt with it in second and third grade. I don't know what they're doing now. I think they don't get it until 7th or 8th, but whatever. Dad was a chemist, so learning out chemical equations and all that stuff. Geology is really just chemistry, basic chemistry. That's all it is. Your inside limestone, calcitic limestone, it's CaCO3, broken down, calcium, carbon, and 3 parts of oxygen. This is the lime that we break down and spread on the yard because it neutralizes the pH balance, neutralizes acid. Dolomitic limestone increases. And that's got magnesium in it, so that's CaMgO3. Plus it's carbon.
Hey, don't they call that cave bacon up there?
Yeah, that's cave bacon right there.
Yep.
And you'll see a whole bunch of it. That's cave. I'm trying to talk a whole lot in here so that you all don't have to hear me the rest of the tour. So I'll just spell out a whole bunch of stuff here and let you look around. Stalactites on the ceiling, stalagmites on the floor. The mnemonic device is hang on tightly and grow up mightily. Works out really well. Hang on tightly from the ceiling and grow from the ground. S-T-A-L-A-C, S-T-A-L-A-G. Top to bottom, you've got columns. Red mineral is iron, Fe number 26. Santa Claus is calcium, number 20. Yeah. See? And that's what I found out as a kid. Dad was having me do experiments. Maybe that's what's wrong with me, but doing all kinds of chemical things, learning how this stuff works together. Let's see, you've got soda straws, little thin guys. I've already mentioned cave bacon. You've got cave curtains, and the knobby stuff is cave coral. And I'll give you some experiments to do if you want to do it at the house when you get home. 2 glasses of water, 4 pennies in each glass, 2 pre-80 and post-80, iodized salt, Rolaids, 2 paper clips, baking soda, and a piece of yarn. You can grow stalactites in a week. If I can do that in 1 week, what happens in the real world?
Wow.
It doesn't take a long time. A whole lot of water. If you take a mason jar outside and fill it up with all kinds of rocks, dirt, sand, and mineral, fill it up with water, put a cap on it, and shake it up, in 30 seconds you've got layers. And you said the concrete has not gone very far. That's what it is. That's what you're looking at, natural concrete. If you look on the ingredient list of Quickcrete, number 1 is limestone.
Number 1, what?
Limestone.
Limestone.
Yep, that's what all this is. You've got limestone, then they add sand to it to make it more solid and stronger. So.
Ooh, the sparkles in that one.
That sparkly guy is called crystal calcite. I'm going to turn the lights off. It looks like a disco ball. You can see how dark it is in here. Minus the light coming in the sun.
Oh, ludicrous.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty mineral. All that is calcium bicarbonate and water.
Didn't show us for shit.
And that's a very soft mineral. Your fingernail is 2.5 on the Mohs scale. Diamond's a 10. This stuff's pretty soft. And it's a precipitate. It's what's left over. Water dripping. Water evaporates. This stuff crystallizes. It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
The water's running. When this dries out, it'll shine up like this. As it crystallizes underneath. Something you've got going on right there.
Tall.
All over the cave. I've been to Europe and Africa. You can see the same kind of cave systems there that you find right here. And just randomly pick up any brochure in the gift shop on that left side of the pamphlets. They're all the same. And of course, each one, like people, we're aesthetically different. Basically, we're all the same. You can see there's a whole lot of water that rushed through here.
Yeah, I saw a drip fall.
Oh yeah, come back when it rains a lot. I'm really not talking to hear my head out. Come back to see it when it rains. We were 2 feet above normal water for the year last year. And it was so loud downstairs we couldn't talk. Yeah. Sinking Creek was up about 6 times where it normally is. We had water running everywhere. It was pretty crazy. And I assume that the conditions were about the same in the 30s when they put the place together because they put concrete barriers and dams around in order to channel water. Right.
Oh.
So I would assume that's what the conditions were like in the 30s. You know, weather cycles. You know, they're trying to kill us with all this global warming nonsense, but yet we recorded, what, record cold temperatures for the year?
So we had a pretty cold winter up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We did.
A lot of our rhododendrons that survived through the winter got killed. A lot of stuff that normally survives through the winter got killed because of how cold the winter was. I haven't had that cold since my dad was a kid. He's 67, and they used to kill hogs on Thanksgiving Day because it was cold enough to. So I believe we're gonna have another cycle and we'll see the earth cool down again, and they believe it was gonna freeze to death in the 1600s. So, stuff cycles.
I ain't gonna be around.
Hmm?
I ain't gonna be around.
No, I'm not either, but I mean, our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they'll see it.
Oh, look at the sparkles over there on that fall one that you just had your light on.
Yep, that's the same mineral you see right there. There's just more iron. It's on top of the iron as
Iron.
opposed to being on top of the calcium.
Alright.
Other fun stuff, the more rain we get in this cave, the more it solidifies it because it sucks out iron and the calcium and it disperses it more so, like that spreads out. So the cave becomes more solid as it rains. And all the cracks that you see have been filled up with glue, and that's a natural glue, it's calcium and iron. So like our teeth and bones, it keeps us held together. Same stuff right here. So chemistry and botany and biology and anatomy, all here in one cave.
They said I'd never need it again.
Yeah, I know. How about that? Well, when you talk about botany, what we can do in here, we've got some interesting things going on. We've got 300 120 watt floodlights. Now, my textbook of biology tells me that I have to have a UV light in order for things to grow. I beg to differ. We've got floodlights. I can show you the box, and we get them from Lighthouse Supply here in Bristol. 120 watt floodlights. Humidity, and 30,000 folks walking in the woods, because they catch all kinds of stuff on their clothes. And all that stuff goes for a light bulb. And voila, we've got growth. And we spray bleach once a year. And we did that in January this year. And that's how much has grown back since then. You can see some of the white that bleached out. And that was a fungus and a mold. You see the blue, that's a mold. And then you've got your moss growing on top of it. Flowstone, you can see where water runs and water standing. We usually have ponds back there. You can see how high the water gets when we have a lot of rain. So there's a whole lot of water that really does stay in here when it rains a lot. Flowstone is nothing more than a hard mud. It's just water smooths it out, water evaporates, and the mineral solidifies, and there you go. So science really is very simple when we look at it. I'm glad Dad was a chemist because I learned all this as a kid, and now I can put it to practice.
So how far does that go?
Not very far. We're going to be underneath that here in a minute. We walk around. We'll go upstairs, downstairs, and then we'll come around. The rest of the cave is under that way. You all came down the trail to the right. You encountered a big square of wrought iron. The bottom of that hole is 180 feet down. And we'll be down there shortly, as soon as we go underneath that. So you can crawl into here and get to the stairwell.
Yeah.
We're going, but it's all
Yeah, I'll
over.
meet you on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I'll walk around.
Is that splunking?
Yeah, that's your feeling. They tell you when you go to the caves not to touch anything. One, this reason right here, 84 years of people rubbing on the same thing over and over again has caused this little shiny barrier on it. I don't know if I buy that too well. For one thing, we've got handrails that are still growing. My house was built in 1947. We've got cast iron plumbing. The piping used to be about that big around. Now it's like that. I've got to redo my plumbing because of the mineral that builds up inside the pipes. Well, the same thing's going on here, only it's going on the outside and the inside. So we've got solid handrails. They're a part of the cave. So 30,000 folks rub on them all the time. So if it kills it, somebody needs to explain that to me. And another thing, we can see how quickly mineral builds up. If you've ever built a sandcastle at the beach, here's the same principle. You scoop up that wet sand and pour it out, and that stuff piles up. Well, this is dropstone, just like your stalagmites. That's what they're called, dropstone. Water drips from here. You can see the little water faucet right here on the tip. But that little drip did not cause this. You're going to have a whole lot of water coming down. So just come back when it rains a whole lot, and you'll see what's happening. This place really is a water faucet. And all that stuff piling up, and I mentioned there had to have been a lot of water because they put this here to keep water from running right there. But what's happened is all that mineral is piled up on this side. You can see no growth there, but a whole lot right here. Yep. You can see the stream the water's running. And you can see just how much is piled up right here. You've got older stuff, which is your dark, and then the new right on top of it.
Okay.
So it is pretty cool when you look at it and you really want to study and look how science works together. Just look inside your water heater, your shower drain, and your coffee maker to see how quickly mineral builds up. So if it takes millions of years, what do we do with those things? And bridges, like Golden Gate and South Holston, have got stalactites on them that they have to clean off every year. You just have water, like you see it, you add water to it, it grows. It really is. And there's your calcite, the same thing, the same shine you saw right over there and right there on your disco ball, or your volcano. There it is here. You see water just running from the ceiling, running right down, crystallizing.
Yep.
That's what the calcium bicarbonate is. Your calcite here, we can see flowstone on a smaller scale, and this just drip, 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 and then the water runs, smooths out, evaporates, and there's your flowstone. Here I'm doing an experiment with my boots. I've got flowstone growing right here. You can see it solidified right there, because those are my boot prints. So when water's running, it's collecting here and smoothing that out, and then I cracked it. Aha. So How about that?
That's cool.
Alright, we'll ascend it first, so you all can head up. So run upstairs and then we'll go down. So that's,
What's the bat?
we don't have everything. Most of the bats in this area hang out in the road and it's not good.
It is pretty up here.
The ledge on your left, where you all are standing, is Lover's Leap. It's only about 40 feet down to the left where the next pathway is. We'll be down there in just a minute. We have had some wettings here, so the formation in front of you is called the Roundabout Waterfall. That big guy right there in front of you to the right. If I've got a sense to remember, I'll show you where this is when we leave. Well, you took the right at the sign that says don't go this point by the guy. About 20 yards that way straight up. This is the bottom of the sinkhole. If you remember going to the pine trees looking left, there's a big dip in the ground with all those trees, the kudzu coming up. That's where this is. Did you notice the handrails as you walk upstairs?
Yeah.
They're solid.
Look at it.
Never have to change one of them.
Look at that piece of bacon there.
There's a better one. Right around the corner. It looks like pork roll. Here's a fun little thing to do with extraction. You want to see which one's got natural formation or man-made table? You tell me which one's got that thread.
Pretty close.
How about that? How about that? I hope that the entire cave covers up with this. And that's just water coming from the ceiling making a formation. If this happens, we'll have a lot less probability of people falling or slipping. You see how slick the cave it does get? But this stuff right here is awesome. It's like sandpaper, 3 feet.
And what is that
That's
formed by?
It's
Just water?
Just water dripping. It's mineral coming from right here. As you can see, your iron and calcium is dripping. And we've got so many people walking on it, it spreads out, which is kind of cool. So as people walk on it, it spreads out. But conversely, you've got water doing two things. That's water beating a hole in the thing, but that's water making a formation. Side by side. If you do your little experiment, when you utilize the water in your kidneys, you can make it money grow. Not like a rough IRA, but you can really make it grow. These have become stalagmites. When I give you those minerals, for one, baking soda, you got sodium, and then rollage is calcium, because you've got calcium in here. And then your pennies have got nickel, of course nickel, and then zinc, and then copper and zinc inside, and that's what happens, they react, and then they become stalagmites here. And if you do a piece of 2 paper clips as aluminum, of course that's going to cause a better reaction too, and then your yarn, all that stuff saturates the string and then begins to drip. And that's how the stalactite forms. Do it on the saucer because you'll ruin your table if you don't. And you can make a column too. Take about 6 months to make a column. And it works a lot quicker if you've got water running in the glasses all the time, because that stuff reacts more and saturates and it just continues to drip.
A lot of activity in here with the water dripping.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this room, I think that when the gentleman found the cave in the 1860s, I think he opened the vacuum system up. If you open up different windows and doors in the house, you know your airflow is different. You know, you get the vacuum system through and suction. Well, the same thing's going to happen here, but we've got porous limestone. So what's going to happen is stuff's going to get sucked out. And you can see just how much growth is in this room. This is the tightest room we have in the cave because of the formation. You can see how small the room is. And it's closer to the ceiling, so most of the suction would happen in this kind of room. And here it is, which would explain why there's so much new growth in this room. So I mean, it's just water getting sucked from the ceiling. Look at the waterstone on a much bigger scale, like we saw downstairs. It really is hard mud, and I can say that because right there, plain mud. And right there beside it is the very same minerals. The difference is when it rains, you can see you've got a little water faucet that smooths all this stuff out. And then the water evaporates, it solidifies, and there's your glowstone. And I didn't mean to, but just like that little piece I pushed downstairs, I broke this. Didn't, that's my blueprint, I'll change that light bulb. stepped on it and cracked. You can see it is soft underneath.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 feet above normal water for the year last year, so apparently it saturated stuff in here enough to wake up roots. I don't know what kind of spores they were, but they woke them up, saturated them, and now they're growing out toward light bulbs. And you can break one off if you want to. This is a root. I thought it was a worm, but it's a root. And they started growing last year, and there's some over here too. So there was enough saturation underneath the flowstone in order to bring the roots out, which is kind of fun. And right there's a pork belly. There's your bacon. Really nice collection right here. If you ever get a kidney stone, I hope you don't. But this is what you have. This is a pure calcium deposit. How about that? And that's all collected just right here in this one little spot. Calcium deposit that's coming from right there.
I still have one. I don't want to steal it. Yeah. I'll let you know looking.
Well, I'm not for it. They say it's illegal to take things out of the cave. We don't mind giving it to everywhere else, but it's illegal to take one out of the US cave.
That's awesome.
Here we can see the crystallization on light fixtures. You can see it's grown over. That's just drips coming down. We've got dropstone and stalagmites on top of electricity and concrete. That's a lot of growth on top of that stuff.
That's a pretty active cave.
Very, very. If you go to Carlsbad, it's inactive. It's a dry cave. And here, quite the opposite. Your growth rate is contingent upon how much water you have coming through. Behind us, and why I think there was so much water in here is they put drains in just about every room in the cave. And now these are solidified because it's filled up with stuff. You can see the growth on the pavement. And this is just about in every, we don't know where all the drains are. These are cool.
Oh, that one broke off up there.
Concerning breaking things off, I don't know if this was when when it initially dried off and then cracked, like some of these things, after it would have dried, it would have cracked as the ground dries when it cracks, or cracks when it dries. Rather, or if it was a tourist or somebody putting this place together, because this is onyx, well, cedar onyx, and they thought it would be valuable, but it's worthless. What are you going to do with it? You can't barter with it. You can just buy it, put it on your shelf, look at it. Somebody may have thought it was valuable, or in the 1950s, they built South Olson Dam, and they blasted a whole lot out there. And when they built 421, they blasted too. So that could have caused reverberation in here for things to break. I don't know when it happened.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
We just came from the dam, and they have all of these big black rocks up on the top, and they have white lines within the rock that look like formations.
Quartz.
Yeah.
You see the same thing downstairs.
That's what we
Now,
thought.
what I've heard is that wherever you find quartz, you can find gold. That'd be nice. We don't have gold here, but we do have quartz. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, because we've looked, and looked and looked and looked and looked, and looked some more. If this was a gold mine, we wouldn't be taking tours to it. But,
Well, you would, but you charge a lot more.
yeah.
We went to one in North Dakota and we had to put a scrub suit on that they took back because they said you were worth so much money just from the dust in the manufacturing place that you got to go through, that they would have special wash machines that they would wash this shit in so that they could recover the gold out of the water.
Wow.
It'd be nice if we were like that.
Yeah.
But all we've got-
You just volunteered to do the wash, right?
Yeah, man. I've been on farms and I mean, exactly. And a bobcat. A little section here has been defined as photographer's paradise. You can see why everything in the cave is in one little package right here. When it rains a lot, it's pretty cool.